I've reviewed a lot of Azure environments, and I've noticed the same mistake over and over again. Most startups make it within their first 3 months. The problem is, they usually don't discover it until they're much bigger, and much harder to fix. It's not a security mistake. It's not a cost mistake, not directly. It's a structural one, and if you're building or reviewing your Azure setup right now, this is the thing to check first. I'm going to show you exactly what the mistake is and the minimum viable landing zone you actually need to avoid it. Without turning this into an enterprise governance project you don't have the time or the team for. You've probably already heard, don't put everything in one subscription. Most engineers have. Some startups even do split things into a few subscriptions from day one. Here's the part that doesn't get talked about. Most of them still make the same mistake, just one layer deeper. They separate compute into different subscriptions, but nothing actually ties those subscriptions together. No shared policy enforcement, no shared identity boundary, no shared platform layer for networking. So on paper, it looks separated. In practice, it's the same undivided mess, just spread across more Azure resource IDs. The tell is simple. If you have 3 subscriptions, but the same person can create a public storage account in any of them without anything stopping it, you don't actually have separation, you have naming. Here's what actually closes that gap. You don't need Microsoft's full enterprise-scale landing zone, just its minimum viable version. 3 subscriptions to start. 1 for production, 1 for non-production, 1 for shared platform resources like identity and networking. That's it. Not 10, 3. A basic management group hierarchy above them, even just 2 levels, so you can apply policy once at the top instead of manually on every subscription. This is the piece that actually makes separate subscriptions mean something, instead of just looking organized. A small set of baseline Azure policies enforced from day one. No public storage accounts by default. Required tags on every resource group, and an allowed region restriction so resources don't sprawl across regions you never intended to use. 3 more pieces, and all 3 are about avoiding sprawl, not adding complexity. Identity, assign roles at the subscription or resource group level with actual least privilege thinking, not everyone's a contributor because it's faster. I've seen small teams where more people hold owner than the team actually needs. That's not agility, that's just nobody having assigned it properly. Networking, you don't need a full hub and spoke topology on day one, but you do need a deliberate IP address plan across your subscriptions from the start, even if it's simple. The single most common thing I see bite startups later is overlapping. IP ranges between environments that were never planned to ever connect until the day they need to. Tagging, this is the one people skip first and regret first. A simple, enforced tagging strategy from day one, environment, owner, cost center, is the difference between knowing exactly what a resource is for 6 months from now and staring at a billing report full of names nobody remembers creating. It costs nothing to set up early. It costs real hours to reconstruct later. Here's why all of this matters more than it seems like it should right now. Nobody plans technical debt. This is how it starts. Once real customer workloads are running without real boundaries, whether that's 1 subscription or 3 subscriptions with nothing actually enforced between them, splitting it apart properly later means migrating live resources, re-architecting network boundaries, and redoing RBAC, all while the business can't afford downtime anymore. I've seen this turn into a multi-week migration project that could have been an afternoon of planning at the very beginning. The mistake isn't fatal, but the cost of fixing it grows every month you wait. If you want to check your own setup right now, ask yourself 5 questions. 1. Are production and non-production workloads in separate subscriptions, or just separate resource groups in the same one? 2. Is there any policy enforced at a management group level, or is every policy applied manually, subscription by subscription? 3. Could you name right now who has owner access across your environment and why each of them needs it? 4. Do you have a written IP address plan, even a simple one, across your environments? 5. Could you tell right now from tags alone which team or cost center owns every resource in your subscription? If you answered no or not sure to 2 or more of these, that's your starting point. None of this requires an enterprise team or a 6-month project. It requires deciding the structure before you have 50 resources instead of 5. If you're building on Azure right now or reviewing what you've already got, Go check those 5 questions against your actual setup this week. I cover real Azure and DevOps content like this 3 times a week. Subscribe if this was useful, and tell me in the comments which of these 5 questions you're least confident about right now. See you in the next one.